This is Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Hello, I'm Froel Namak, your host for this hour's news. Stay tuned. We'll start with the African Union. African Union Commissioner for Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy and Sustainable Environment, Fela Kuti, has emphasized that strengthening the continent's water profile is essential for driving socio-economic transformations across African countries. The African Union has designated 2026 as the year of assuring sustainable water availability and safe sanitation systems to achieve the goal of Agenda 2063. In an exclusive interview with Pulse of Africa, Fela Kuti, AU Commissioner for Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy and Sustainable Environment, emphasized that water must be a top priority for member states as it lies at the heart of Africa's socio-economic transformation. Commissioner Fela Kuti described water as a powerful catalyst for development and a fundamental human right and a strategic imperative for the continent's prosperity, security and overall progress. He stressed that the fully realizing Agenda 2063 Africa's long-term blueprint for inclusive and sustainable growth depends heavily on addressing water and sanitation challenges. Explaining the choice of the 2026 theme, he noted that the AU aims to elevate the profile of water across the continent.
You think agriculture, you think energy, you think health, it's all about water. So this is a very, very important theme. So why at AUC? It's just because we want the member states to raise the profile on water. Since Africa is still deficient in the water supply to its people. There are about, for example, 400 million people who lack basic water services, and more than 700 million people without safely managed sanitation. And that constrains human development, that constrains transformation. And yet, if we're taking water to a higher profile level, like education, like health, like agriculture, we would have resolved this at ease. So we are very excited about this theme.
He highlighted alarming statistics. Approximately 400 million Africans lack access to basic water services, while over 700 million do not have safely managed sanitation. These gaps, he argued, severely constrains human development and the broader transformation Africa urgently needs. As a result, he urged all AU member states to actively work towards raising the priority of water issue in national agendas. On the Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Programme, launched in 2003 under the Maputo Declaration to promote agricultural growth, reduce poverty, enhance food security, and improve nutrition, Commissioner Fela Kuti expressed optimism about its implementation over the past 2 decades. Despite ongoing challenges, he pointed to notable success, including stronger national planning systems, better investment program formulation, and enhanced agricultural productivity and production levels. He acknowledged progress towards the CAADP target of allocating at least 10% of national budget to agriculture in many countries.
There has been good progress, even though there has been challenges. So over the last 2 decades, CATAB has helped member states to make sure that they have a stronger agricultural planning systems, and also investment program formulations. But also, it has found itself in some other countries where the productivity as well as the production levels have increased. Because when you look at CADIP, it is focused in a number of areas, particularly regarding production and productivity.
Kuti also referenced Africa's heavy reliance on food imports, valued at around $70 billion annually, and the ongoing continental efforts, including the Kampala process under Uganda's leadership, to ensure that 45% of Africa's agri-food needs are made from within the continent. He called on all countries to integrate CAADPs fully into their national agricultural plans to accelerate the path to food security. The Commissioner also emphasized AU's initiative aimed at improving soil health and increasing access to fertilizers, which are both essential for enhancing productivity. He praised companies such as Dangote for establishing fertilizer production facilities in various African countries and encouraged private sector engagement in this area. When it came to addressing climate change, he said that Africa is bearing the brunt of and that the continent is not receiving the necessary climate finance to mitigate its effects. Kuti lamented that climate financing is often neither fair nor timely. He therefore advocated for more grant-based and concessional financing to support African nations' stronger position in global climate negotiation to secure adequate resources and greater focus on domestic climate finance solutions.
The critical things are: one, food security. We need to move towards food security Africa. Definitely food sovereignty is not likely to be here now. But food security, in particular, because when you look at the CADA program, it says 45% of the agri-foods must now come from Africa. So that's the first one. The second one is the utilization, full utilization of the blue economy, because it's there, it's abundant. The third one is to make sure that we can conserve our seeds. We need to have seed banks.
He also recommended that African countries focus on finding solutions within their own countries and urged them to intensify their focus on food security, the blue economy, and seed banks as a sustainable way forward. He particularly urged greater investment in the blue economy, noting its vast potential as a source of food, an economic driver, and a boost for tourism. Through this priority, Commissioner Kuti reiterated that AU's commitment to driving transformative actions and transformative change that aligns agriculture with security, environmental sustainability, and economic growth with the vision of Agenda 2063. Nigerian Afrobeat pioneer Fela Anikulapo Kuti has posthumously been honored with the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award 29 years after his death in August 1997, making him the first African to receive this distinction. The award, announced by the Recording Academy, recognizes Fela as enduring impact on global music and culture, highlighting his role as both a musician and a cultural thinker who shaped Afrobeat alongside drummer Tony Allen. Fela's son, Seunu Kuti, hailed the recognition as bringing balance to a Fela story, while longtime associate Ricky Stein described the honor as a long overdue, noting Africa's growing presence on the global music stage. The award comes amidst rising international interest in African music, fueled by Afrobeat's global popularity, the Grammy's recent introduction of a Best African Performance category, and Nigerian singer Burna Boy's recent nomination in the Best Global Music Album category. Over his career, Fela released more than 50 albums, blending Western African rhythms with jazz, funk, and high life, and used his music to challenge authority and criticize Nigeria's military government. Families, friends, and associates are expected to accept the award on his behalf.
Ethiopia's green legacy initiatives are restoring urban parks and expanding green spaces across our cities. Green spaces protect the environment and strengthen healthy, resilient communities.
Pharrell, Brandy, and Kirk Franklin were recognized Thursday night at the Recording Academy Black Music Collective Honors for their contribution to music, culture, and social impact. Singer, songwriter, and producer Brandy was named as a Black music icon. Fellow artist Coco Jones praised her influence, saying Brandy's work represents dark-skinned beauty in TV and film and music, and inspires the next generations of performers. Gospel star Kirk Franklin also received a Black Music Icon Award 30 years after winning his first Grammy.
Wouldn't be here if not for Brandy. So to see someone who represents dark-skinned beauty in TV and film and music and killing it at the same time, I think it just expanded my brain of what's possible and what's allowed. And so she deserves so much. I think tonight we're going to do our best to give her all of her flowers. I'm singing Full Moon at her tribute, and I'm trying to put my foot on it. Hello? Woo! A little nervous, but she's amazing and she deserves everything.
Recording artist Lake Ray highlighted Franklin's mentorship and barrier-breaking influence in gospel and R&B, describing him as a guiding figure in his own career.
And I give him credit. I mean, obviously, I have a Kirk Franklin to look to. I think he had like an Andre Crouch, you know, to look to. But everybody's pushed the barriers and pushed the barriers in different spaces. Kirk did it in gospel and R&B. I did it in hip-hop. And I think, you know, watching Kirk, it just encouraged me. And then he became like a big brother to me. He let me ask him questions and just gave me good advice and, you know, was able to navigate a lot of things. And we've done music together. And so that's been a blessing.
Pharrell was honored with the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award, recognizing his musical achievements, entrepreneurial innovation, charitable efforts, and worldwide cultural influence. The ceremony, held ahead of the 2026 Grammy Awards, celebrated artists whose works has shaped music, inspired communities, and created lasting global impact. American YouTuber and streamer iShowSpeed, born Darren Jason Watkinson Jr., has wrapped up his 28-day Speed Does Africa tour, capping the journey with the announcement that Ghana will grant him citizenship, a symbolic recognition of his role in showcasing Africa to the world. The milestone underscores that not just a personal achievement, but a broader celebration of African culture, heritage, and global influence. Spanning 20 countries across southern, eastern, northern, and western Africa, the tour brought millions of viewers along on a real-time exploration of the continent's diverse tradition, vibrant cities, and historical landmarks. Stops included Angola, South Africa, Ethiopia, Senegal, Nigeria, Morocco, and Ghana, each offering unique insight into Africa's richness and modern dynamism. Watkinson's live stream drew record-breaking online engagement, with millions tuning in daily and marking a surge in global interest in African stories.
This is the nightlife of Ethiopia, chat. Nightlife of Ethiopia.
They saw it.
This is insane. Is it still on there?
Yeah, it's still on there.
Oh my gosh, y'all.
When you want us to switch back. We're back for a second.
Holy crap, that looks crazy. Yo, Ethiopia nightlife looks insane, bro. Holy guacamole, bro. W's in the chat, bro. W's in the stream, bro. W's in the stream, bro.
Don't show that.
W's in the chat, bro. This is beautiful, bro. Holy crap, bro. Ethiopia is so beautiful. Holy Yo, y'all see this chat? Y'all see Ethiopia, bro? This is insane. Oh my gosh. We're on top of this building right now. That is insane, G. Oh my. We should do a backflip.
There's no space for that.
Yeah, there's not no space. But that's crazy though, bro. That is Ethiopia, man. That is the nightlife Ethiopia, bro. Ethiopia has, I think it's like, bro, it's one of the biggest cities ever, bro. It took me 1 hour just to get to it took me 1 hour and 30 minutes just to get to my hotel. That's how big this city is, bro. In all seriousness, bro. But W Ethiopia, bro.
During the trip, he surpassed 50 million YouTube subscribers, while events such as the Africa Cup of Nations finals in Morocco drew unprecedented international attention. Unlike conventional media portrayals, iShowSpeed's unfiltered approach offered audiences a candid perspective on African life, challenging stereotypes and highlighting the continent's creativity, resilience, and cultural depth. For many in the African diaspora, the journey provided a powerful recognition to roots and heritages. The Ghanaian government's decision to confer citizenship on Watkins's representation more than a personal accolade, it signals recognition of Africa as soft power on the global stage and the potential of digital media to elevate African narrative worldwide.
This tour's been amazing, bro. On every end, bro. I'm so glad I went to Africa, chat.
100% African! Freedom!
Watkins described the experience as a life-changing, reflecting on the continent's tradition, urban energy, and welcoming communities. While the tour attracted praise for amplifying African voices, some observers noted the need for a careful cultural sensitivity when broadcasting from sacred sites and debated how digital portrayals intersect within representation. Ultimately, the Speed Does Africa tour became a landmark in digital storytelling, merging entertainment with cultural diplomacy and reaffirming Africa's central role in shaping global narratives for a new generation of viewers. Moving on to business news, the Mozambican government and Total Energies announced the full restart of the Capo Delgado liquefied natural gas project, which had been suspended since 2021 due to violent insurgency in the region. The lifting of force majeure allows construction to resume both onshore and offshore at the Afangai site. Over 4,000 workers, including more than 3,000 Mozambican nationals, have been mobilized to restart operation. Total Energy CEO Patrick Poyani said the company anticipates a huge ramp-up of activity, with the first LNG deliveries targeted for 2029. The project is expected to produce around 30 million tons of LNG annually. President Daniel Chapo hailed the resumption as a key milestone for Mozambique's economy and reaffirmed government support, particularly for security coordination with Rwandan forces to safeguard workers and local communities. The project is among Africa's largest private investment and is expected to generate tens of billions in revenue over its lifespan. The initiative also includes an ambitious local content plan, potentially awarding over $4 billion in contracts to Mozambican companies and creating up to 7,000 direct construction jobs. Stakeholders emphasize its role in boosting local-scale infrastructure and broader economic opportunities. However, concerns remain over social and environmental impacts. Civil society groups have warned of unresolved community grievances and ecological risks, highlighting the need for careful management as the project progresses. The restart marks a critical phase where economic benefits, regional stability, and sustainability priorities must be balanced. The African Development Bank has approved a new $3.9 million technical assistance program to help African countries translate national energy commitments into real electricity connections under Mission 300. The AFDB World Bank initiative aimed at connecting 300 million Africans to power by 2030. The two-year project, known as ASTAP Mission 300 Phase 2, will support certain countries including Ethiopia, Kenya, Nigeria, the DRC, and Tanzania as they implement their national energy compact, moving from policy plans to tangible results for households, schools, hospitals, and businesses. Energy Compact are country-owned blueprints outlining how government plans to expand electricity access, reforming power sectors, and mobilizing investment. While political commitments are already in place, the AFDB says technical support is now critical to turn ambition into action. Under the program, the bank will help strengthen electricity regulation, planning and tariffs, improve the performance of power utilities, and deploy expert advisors within government delivery units to coordinate reforms and track progress. AFDB Energy Director Wale Shoni Bair said the initiative is about impact on the ground, ensuring that bold promises lead to reliable power for communities and entrepreneurs. The project builds on Phase 1 approved in December 2025 and reinforces African-led efforts to close the continent's energy access gap and drive inclusive development. Headlining our sports news, the 2026 Dubai Marathon, celebrating a quarter-century of elite long-distance racing, is set to make history with the largest turnout in its 25-year legacy when tens of thousands hit the street on Sunday, February 1. With support from the Dubai Sports Council, the event expects around 20,000 participants, including nearly 4,000 marathon runners and more than 15,000 in the 10K road race and 4-kilometer fun race. African athletes, long the dominant force in global distance running, are set to shine once again. Ethiopia's Gaddisa Brahanu, fresh from a second-place finish at the 2025 Lipsen Marathon, will lead a star-studded men's elite field aiming to build on Africa's proud marathon tradition that has produced world-beating dependents in Dubai since 2012. The women's race similarly features a strong African presence within Ethiopia's Fantu Werku, who stunned the world with a 2-hour 21 minutes and 57 seconds Berlin debut among the top contenders. Anchalu Desai Gennene, undefeated in her 2025 season, and Tigis Gitinet, who set a personal best in Dubai, highlights the depth of African talent shaping the competition. Beyond the competition, the Dubai Marathon emphasizes social impact through its Run for Humanity initiative. In its second year, the program mobilizes runners and communities to support humanitarian causes, partnering with 15 international organizations across health, education, and social development issues that resonate deeply with African societies and striving for inclusive growth. As African champions aim for record-breaking performances, the event also celebrates sports' power to unite communities and inspire humanitarian action globally. Now let's take a look at the current weather forecast across Africa. That's all for today, and thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.
This is Editorial from Pulse of Africa, the voice and face of Africa.
Africa Rising, shaping the future at Davos rounds. The current global order is witnessing a tectonic shift, affecting even what many consider the strongest alliances. Who would have thought a Canadian leader would one day evoke this much-cliched age? If you are not on the table, you are on the menu. He made that reference in his well-thought-out address to the World Economic Forum, Davos 2026, and he clearly meant it to warn middle powers to unite against rising great power rivalry on different levels and dimensions. That concern was one shared by many. Africa has woken up to that impending danger. It will not allow itself to be on the menu. It is rather rising determinedly to be sitting among those shaping the global future. As such, at the world converged at Davos 2026, it was impossible not to notice the shifting global landscape. The themes that dominated the discussions: sustainable development, digital transformation, climate resilience, and inclusive growth, highlighted an evolving economy where Africa's potential remains largely untapped. While the continent is home to a youthful population, abundant natural resources, and rapidly expanding markets, its participation in this influential global forum has historically been limited, sporadic, and often shallow. This limited engagement has deprived Africa of the opportunity to shape the very conversations that will determine the future of global economic policies and investments. It is time for Africa to step into its rightful place as a key stakeholder, not just as a recipient of aid or a passive participant, but as a driver of the global agenda. Without Africa's reach, the world cannot discuss the prospect of prosperity at such depths and breadths, as witnessed at high-level international events such as at the Davos rounds. The discussion at Davos 2026 underscored the importance of inclusive and sustainable growth, themes that resonate profoundly with Africa's development needs. World leaders, business executives, and civil society organizations recognize the importance of technology, innovation, and climate action. Yet Africa's voice remained somewhat muted amid these high-stake debates. Africa's vast natural and human capital can contribute significantly to the solutions being discussed. The continent's potential to lead in green energy, digital innovation, and regional integration should be front and center in global economic conversations. Today, Africa is a continent that already offers scalable, impactful solutions, and these feats have been demonstrated in numerous locally funded mega projects in the areas, among others, of clean energy generation, aviation, and innovations. While this is for a fact, stereotypes linger, stemming from several entrenched factors. First, low leadership participation at Davos has been a persistent obstacle. Many African head of states and senior policymakers have been absent or underrepresented, and negative perceptions ranging from concerns about political stability to perceptions of corruption and poor governance continue to overshadow Africa's achievements. These perceptions, often reinforced by global media narratives, discourage meaningful investment and partnerships. The inability to present a unified and coordinated Pan-African voice hampers negotiation and collaborations. Fragmentation among regional economic communities, lack of strategic messaging, and divergent priorities among member states weaken Africa's bargaining power. The continent is showing marked improvements on all these fronts as of late, though. Furthermore, Africa's narrative often focuses on its potentials, vast markets, untapped resources, youthful populations, rather than showcasing concrete, scalable projects and success stories. The tendency to sell potentials without demonstrating tangible results hamper Africa's credibility as a reliable partner in global economic circles. The continent cannot afford to remain a passive observer. Instead, it must leverage its collective strengths through strategic alliances, enhanced leadership, and a unified voice to influence global agendas on investment, climate, and technology. Building a more robust and active presence at Davos means not only participating in discussions, but also shaping the narrative, setting agendas, and securing commitments aligned with Africa's development priorities. A critical step toward this goal is strengthening institutions like the African Economic Forum and the African Business Forum. These platforms serve as a vital avenues for showcasing Africa's economic potential, sharing success stories, and fostering high-level dialogue among policymakers, investors, and entrepreneurs. By investing in their capacity, expanding their reach, and elevating the quality of discussions, these forums can become powerful engines for change. They can serve as a launchpad for Africa's strategic narratives, helping to position the continent as a hub for innovation, green energy, digital transformation, and regional integration. Moreover, Africa must improve its messaging by focusing on tangible results and scalable projects, proof that Africa is not just a continent of potential, but one with proven successes and innovative solutions. Highlighting regional integration efforts, technological innovations, renewable energy projects, and successful business models will help shift perceptions and attract meaningful investment. Strengthening continental institutions like the African Union and regional economic communities, fostering intra-Africa trade, and promoting innovation hubs are all steps in the right direction. The continent must also invest in capacity building for its representatives at international forums, equipping them with the skills and tools to effectively advocate for Africa's interests. In a nutshell, Africa must recognize that the world is increasingly looking to it as a partner in sustainable and inclusive growth. The time has come for Africa to move from the periphery to the center stage, to be a driving force at Davos and beyond. Africa's rise is not just a matter of regional pride, it is essential for the future of global prosperity. The continent must seize this moment because the future belongs to those who lead, and Africa is ready to lead.
This is Editorial from Pulse of Africa, the voice and face of Africa.